The chair lays out House Bill 276 and recognizes Representative Bernal on behalf of Representative Cortez to explain the bill.
Thank you, Chair. I'm laying this out for Representative Cortez. Texans in growing numbers want to raise food for themselves, for the health of their families, and the pleasure of gardening. Growing a home garden has numerous benefits, including increasing access to fresh, nutritious food, reducing and stabilizing families' food bills, and providing physical and mental health benefits from growing plants and caring for animals. The COVID-19 pandemic and recent dangerous storms have given new urgency to this issue. Our dominant food production system has proven to be both fragile and subject to disruption in a crisis. Grocery store shelves went empty as the conventional food system was unable to adapt to new distribution needs. Food bank lines were staggeringly long. Unemployment rates remained high, hampering Texans' ability to provide for their families. HB276 would first prevent cities and HOAs from prohibiting their residents from having front yard gardens and up to 6 chickens or rabbits. However, the bill would continue to ensure reasonable restrictions like prohibiting roosters, limiting the number of animals, and requiring a minimum distance between residential structures. Ultimately, there will be adequate oversight to ensure all parties are satisfied. We look forward to working with the committee officials to see this legislation through. Thank you, Chairman and members, and I reserve the right to close.
Great bill. Members, if it's okay with you, we're going to move on to witnesses first, and we'll bring up the bill's author. Chair now calls Leslie Province. Thank you. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's Leslie Province, you're here on behalf of the Food Policy Council of San Antonio and yourself, and you were for this bill. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Please continue.
The Food Policy Council of San Antonio for several years has worked hard with our city departments, urban farmers, and many other constituents to improve access to healthy food for all in our community. This includes 2 rounds of improvement to the zoning code to increase the availability of urban growing, which we learned doesn't necessarily benefit residents of homeowner associations. We also worked with the city to increase the number of fowl, usually chickens, from 3 to 8 in San Antonio. This brought about people's ability to show off their coops in our annual coop tour. Before the ordinance changed, coop owners lived in fear of losing their flocks if the authorities learned that they had more than 3 birds. This transparency has resulted in a wonderful and educational community event that just seems to make everyone happy. Many chicken keepers we're in touch with have had to move out of the city limits, contributing to urban sprawl because their HOAs didn't allow backyard chickens. In 2011, a bill was passed in the legislature that prevented HOAs from prohibiting xeriscaping, rainwater collection, and other drought-resilient practices. It's our belief that the right to produce food at a household level is just as essential as that. During the pandemic, there were many food shortages, including eggs, and again more recently, inflation knocked a hole in many household food budgets, again with egg shortages. Keeping a few backyard hens helps with disposal of food waste and produces healthy and inexpensive protein for families, along with endless entertainment. Please support the right of Texas families, no matter where they live, to feed themselves.
Yes. Excellent, excellent. Members, any questions for this witness?
With your permission, I would like to read a supporting statement from Mario Obledo of the San Antonio Food Bank.
I do not think we can do that.
Okay.
But we could, I will, if you could have that submitted to this office, we will be sure to get it distributed to all the members. Would that be okay?
Yes.
We're going to print it out, so I'd be happy to, maybe talk to us after this. We'd be happy to get it written down. Representative Bernal will make sure everybody gets it.
I'll do it.
Okay.
So that is important. We will make sure his voice is heard, but we just can't do it.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate the food bank's support of this.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair now call Jeanette Vela. Howdy, good morning. Got you, Jeanette Vela. Here on behalf of the Texas Legislative Action Committee and yourself, and you're against this bill. Is that correct?
Correct.
Please proceed.
Chairman Kane and members of the House Committee, my name is Jeanette Vela, and I'm here on behalf of the Texas Legislative Action Committee, or TLAC, testifying in opposition of HB 276. Texas Legislative Action Committee is a statewide association of homeowners associations. Our members represent approximately 6 million Texans that live in POAs. We respectfully oppose the bill as filed and request that the author of the committee consider an amendment to address our concern. TLAC opposes legislation that removes an HOA's ability to self-govern. Ultimately, POAs are private entities built on the fundamental right of private property owners and freedom to contract and associate. Community associations form to protect these rights and value the ability to self-govern. Proposals that override POA rules in state law infringe on these private rights. They also presume that a single statewide solution exists for all neighborhoods. This ignores the unique circumstances of a particular community. HOAs generally oppose a one-size-fits-all mandate. On the matter at hand, we believe that there are reasons why some communities may not want backyard chickens, rabbits, and front yard fruit and vegetable gardens. Some communities are densely built and could be very difficult to enforce the regulations that are allowed in the bill without having an effect on prohibiting the activity which the bill does now allow. Furthermore, some neighborhood communities value the uniform or cohesive aesthetic. This attribute will protect property values and be the reason an individual buys a home in a particular community with these characteristics. In some of these neighborhoods, growing fruit and vegetables in the front yard may detract from the aesthetic preference. We do not think that one size fits all as a state law on this subject leads to the best policy outcome. We would like to see the bill amended to allow property owners associations to have a local process for deciding what is best for their community. It is our view that community associations do a good job of balancing the needs of an individual homeowner with the needs of a broader community, and that we ask you to allow that to continue.
Thank you. Members, any questions for this witness? Hearing none. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your testimony. Chair now calls Amy Blair.
You got it right.
Yes.
That's amazing. Nobody ever does that.
I wasn't confident, though. All right, we say it confidently. Amy Blair.
Yes.
You were here on behalf of Homemade Texas and yourself, and you were for this bill. Is that correct?
I am. That is
Please
correct. So the mission of Homemade Texas is to advocate for policies that allow Texans to be self-sufficient in their homes. And House Bill 276 perfectly embodies that mission. Growing up, my parents kept animals, including chickens, and grew vegetables to feed our family. Even in lean times when money was tight, there was always food on the table because of the garden and the animals that we kept. It provided stability and food security for me and my 3 siblings, which is something that many members of my community struggled with at the time and still do today. With food prices that are rising at a rate that outpaces inflation, egg shortages, and supply chain issues, it is getting more difficult for families to make ends meet and keep food on the table. While I would love to have the ability to provide for my family in the same way that my parents provided for me and my siblings, I am unable to do so because I currently live within an HOA that prohibits me from having any hens in my backyard. HB276 allows Texans to provide for themselves and their families while also providing reasonable rules for odor, noise, safety, and sanitation to be able to uphold the principles of the HOAs. So I ask for your support for House Bill 276, and I thank you for the opportunity to come and speak today.
Thank you. Members, we have 3 minutes left. We pass the 10-minute mark. We will kill this bill. Do you have any questions for this witness? None? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 276? Hearing none, the chair recognizes Representative Bernal on behalf of Representative Cortez to close on the bill.
Thank you, Chair. I will get that letter from Mr. Robledo to the committee, and I close.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Representative Bernal? Hearing none. If there's no objection, the bill will be left pending. Is there an objection? The chair hears none, and the bill is left pending.